Macmillan Audio presents The Librarians and the Lost Lamp by Greg Cox. Read for you by Thérèse Plummer. Chapter 1. 2006. Edinburgh, Scotland. McFarlane's brewery was located in an out-of-the-way corner of Old Town, several blocks away from the more touristy stretches along the city's Royal Mile. The sooty brick building and its towering chimneys dated back to Victorian days. A rich, malty smell leaked from the cracks in the ancient masonry, and a chill autumn wind carried the intoxicating aroma down a dark, empty street to where Flynn Carsen stood watching. It was well after 3 a.m, and the brewery was closed. But that didn't matter to Flynn. He wasn't looking for a drink. Not that I couldn't use one, he thought, considering. A lanky, boyish-looking fellow in his early 30s, he contemplated the brewery while a chilly breeze rustled his unruly brown hair. The night was cold enough that his breath misted before his lips. He tugged a rumpled trench coat tighter around his body and found himself pining for, say, the sultry warmth of an Amazon rainforest while he considered his next move. He had come straight from the Writers' Museum on Lawn Market, only a brisk walk away, where an unauthorized after-hours visit had revealed that somebody else had gotten to a certain rare manuscript before him. Flynn was pretty sure he knew who had beaten him to the punch, and where they had probably gone to roost. Duncan McFarlane was the eccentric owner of the brewery, and something of an avid collector in his own right. He and Flynn had been competitors of a sort, both in the pursuit of the same lost manuscript, but Flynn represented the library, which had a legitimate interest in acquiring said manuscript for the good of all humanity. McFarlane had his own personal agenda, which was what really had Flynn worried. If that manuscript contains what I think it does. Fearing that time was running out, Flynn snuck down a murky alley to find a side entrance to the brewery labeled Employees Only. It was locked, of course, but he didn't let that stop him. Lockpicking was just one of the many useful new skills he'd acquired over the last couple of years. It was funny. There had been a time, only a few years ago, when he would have never dreamed of breaking and entering. But that was before he'd become the librarian. Things were different now. He was different now. When you ventured into lost tombs and buried temples on a semi-regular basis, breaking into a Scottish brewery barely warranted a shrug. And, with any luck, there were fewer bottomless pits and booby traps here. Despite the cold nipping at his fingers, he picked the lock after only a couple of tries. Glancing up and down the alley to make certain that nobody was watching, he tugged open the door and quietly slipped inside the building, grateful to get out of the harsh weather. A large ground-floor storeroom greeted him. Rows of tall wooden shelves were packed with aromatic bags of grains, malts, and hops, creating an even more pungent atmosphere than the one outdoors. More bags were piled high atop wooden pallets. A parked forklift waited to transport the heavy bags as needed. Humming ventilators kept the storeroom cool and dry. Flynn gave the looming shelves only a passing glance. What he was looking for was unlikely to be stored there. The clatter of heavy machinery, chugging away despite the lateness of the hour, led him into an automated bottling area. Glass bottles, tinted brown to protect the beer from the pernicious effects of sunlight, were carried along mechanized conveyor belts to be filled, capped, labeled, boxed, and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?